Today I'm going to show you how to make this basic netted style necklace. Now, with this particular necklace, it is very simple, very repetitious, and it is a good introduction into the netting stitch because we're using a little bit bigger beads and we're using a couple different colors in order for you to see where you will connect and where you will come out. It's a really good one to start with. However, because this does use a lot of beads, it uses a lot of crystal and a lot of rice pearls. If you do not have these beads, do not let that discourage you. The pattern itself is very basic and will work with almost any type or size of beads. So if you wanted to use round beads instead of rice pearls, that will work. It'll just give it a little bit different look. I've decided to make mine with rice pearls because it gives it a very distinct, open, really pretty look, real pointy type look that I was going for. However, this pattern will work, like I said, with any shape or size. You can use seed beads, you can use pearls, you can use anything you want. And I explained that more in the video, how you can change out some beads. So, like I said, if you do not have the beads I have or the numbers that I have, you can always downsize this into a seed bead necklace and do it anyway. So let's go ahead and look and see what we need for this particular project. For this particular project, I am using 11 seed beads and I am using a crystal silver lined toho. You will also need a bit of a larger bead, and my larger bead today is going to be a glass rice pearl. It is amethyst in color, and it is 4 millimeters wide by 6 millimeters long. Then I'm going to use two 4 millimeter round beads of different colors. One of my 4 millimeter rounds is a Chinese crystal and it's opal, and then or white opal actually, and then I'm going to be using a fire polish bead for my other 4 millimeter round, and this is a check fire polish and it is alexandrite in color. You will need a lot of these beads and I will put exact numbers in caption. You will also need a toggle clasp. You can use any type of clasp you want, but I am using a toggle today, and I'm using a smaller toggle, about a 1/2 inch wide. I am also going to be using 8-pound Fireline. You can use 6-pound Fireline, 10-pound Fireline. You can also use 8 or 10-pound nanofill if you would like. And you will use a lot of Fireline. So make sure that you know how to extend your Fireline for this project. And video number 4 on this channel will show you how to do that if you do not know how. Start with a long length, probably 2 wingspans. A wingspan is when you put your arms out side to side, stretch from fingertip across the length of your arm, across the length of your chest, across the length of the other arm to your fingertips. That is a wingspan. Start with 2 if you can work with that much thread. If you cannot and decide that you want to extend, then start with 1 wingspan. And put it on a size 10 beading needle. I am using an English style beading needle. Go ahead and thread a comfortable length of thread onto your needle, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, to start this project, we are going to pick up 1 rice pearl, and we're going to use it as the stop by putting the clasp on the rice pearl first. That way we won't have to use a stop bead, and we won't have to worry about, as we start our knitting, things falling off of our thread. So you don't have to leave a long tail, just enough to hold on to. And then you're going to pick up 3 11 seed beads, and then I'm going to pick up 1 of my 4 millimeter round fire polish beads, and I'm going to drop it down to my rice pearl, like so. And then pick up your clasp. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to start with the round end, and I'm going to go through the clasp. I'm going to bring that down to the fire polish bead. And then I'm going to go back into my fire polish bead. Let's get a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. So I've got my rice pearl, 311 I've gone through, and my fire polish bead, I've gone through my clasp. I'm going to go through the fire polish bead and just the fire polish bead and pull my clasp down to it, like so. And then I'm going to pick up 3 of my 11 seed beads, and I'm going to go back through the opposite end of my rice bead and pull it through. And then you should just have this little triangular shape like so. We're going to sew back through this 3 times. So we've done it once, so we'll do it 2 more times. We're going to go through these 11 the fire polish, and then back around into the clasping like so. Pull it through. And this is just to secure the clasping end here. I'm going to go back into my fire polish bead and the 311 on the other side and pull this around. And then I'm going to pull my tail thread to tighten this all up and go back through the rice pearl. And we're going to do that one more time. Up the 311 the fire polish bead, and then into my clasp. Then back down into the fire polish bead, which is getting tight against the clasping, so just kind of maneuver your way in there. And then back into the 311 on the other side. Move my tail thread out of the way. Pull this through, and then I'm going to go back down into my rice pearl. And now I have my clasping end ready to go. You can just cut the tail thread down. I'm not going to cut it completely down. I'm going to leave enough to burn down, but at this point, until I come back through this bead, I'm going to leave this a little length here so that I don't have a knot that blocks me from coming back through that bead. So then, after you have secured your clasping, we're going to start the first segment of our netting through this rice pearl here. So our segments are going to be, this is going to be our first bead in the segment. Then we're going to pick up 2 of the opal colored 4mm rounds and then 1 rice pearl. You can drop them down if you want, or you can just continue. And then we're going to pick up 2 of the fire polish lavender color. Then we're going to pick up a rice pearl. Then we're going to pick up 3 of the opal color crystals. Of course, you can use just one color. You don't have to do the separate colors like I'm doing, but I think it makes it prettier, and I think it makes it easier to know what you're doing next. Then we'll pick up a rice pearl, and then we'll pick up 3 of the lavender color fire polish beads, and then 1 more rice pearl. This is our entire segment here. So what you should have on your thread is your rice pearl connected to your clasping, 2 4mm round, a rice pearl, 2 of the second color 4mm round, a rice pearl, 3 of your first color 4mm round, a rice pearl, and 3 of your second color 4mm round and a rice pearl. Then you're going to pick up 1 11 seed bead. You're going to drop this down to the rice pearl. You're going to go around the 11 seed bead and back into the rice pearl. So basically it's a fringing stitch. And this will serve as your stop for that particular strand, the first half of our first unit. Now we have to make the second half of the first unit. So we're going to do exactly what we did before. We're going to pick up 3 fire polish and then a rice pearl, and then 3 of the 4mm round crystals. And instead of picking up a rice pearl, we're going to go into the rice pearl already on our unit. So we're going to skip this one and go into this one. These rice pearls will be our connectors. Then we'll pull the thread through, and we have part of our first segment. Now we have to finish the second segment. So we will pick up 2, excuse me, we are now doing 2, so we'll pick up 2 of the lavender color, 1 rice pearl, and then 2 of the opal crystals. We'll come back up through the first rice pearl that we connected to the clasping. Just come straight up through it from the bottom up. Pull your thread through, and now you have made your first unit of netting here. Now, in order to make our next one to connect to our first unit, we need to space over. So to space over, we will pick up an 11/0 seed bead, and then I'm going to use my lavender color fire polish bead, and then an 11/0 seed bead. This is our space over beads. Then we will start our next unit. So we'll pick up a rice pearl and drop it down. And we need to connect into this rice pearl, so the only thing that's missing if we bend this over are the 2 opal colored crystals. So we'll pick up the 2 opal colored crystals, and we'll use the rice pearl that's sticking out as our connection. So we'll go into this rice pearl here from the top and pull these 2 crystals down. Now, if your units loosen up, don't worry. At this point, they like to do that. You just have to tighten everything up and straighten it up. It's okay. It likes to happen as you're pulling into the first unit. That just happens. Then we are going to connect. We have to make the next part of our unit, and we'll connect into this rice pearl. So we have to pick up all these beads in order to connect into this one. So we need 2 of our lavender colored fire polish beads. We'll never go into the recessed pearls, just the ones that are sticking out. So we're going to ignore this one. We're going to add it onto our strand. So 2 of the lavender color. These little rice pearls are hard to pick up, sorry. And then the rice pearl. To connect into this one, I now have to pick up 3 of my opal color. And then I'll connect into this one that's sticking out. That will be my next rice pearl in this unit. We will be sharing rice pearls of the previous unit in the unit you're currently making, in every unit. So now we just have to make this point part. So we're going to pick up 3 of our fire polish beads, and then a rice pearl, and drop them down. Then we'll pick up an 11/0 seed bead, drop it down, if I can find it, there it is, and then go around it and back into the rice pearl. Pull through the rice pearl and pull the 11/0 seed bead up. Make sure you don't have any slack in your line, otherwise your design will be kind of sloppy. So make sure there's no slack. And then pick up 3 of the lavender colored beads and a rice pearl. And like I said, if it's recessed, we're not going to go through it. We're going to pick one up. This one's recessed. It's not sticking out. So we're going to pick up a rice pearl. And this one's sticking out. So we're going to connect into it. So to get to it, we need to pick up 3 of our opal colored crystals. And then slide up into the pearl that's sticking out. These little rice pearls have a lot of paint on the bottom. I should have probably cleaned them, but I'm not going to, so I just struggle. I'm going to pull these 3 up here. And now I just have to make the top half and then space over and make my next one. So this one's recessed, so I know that I have to pick it up, and then I'll go through this one on the top. So I have to pick up the beads in order to get there. So I need 2 lavender beads, a rice pearl, 2 opal beads. And then I will come into the top rice pearl. And I have completed this unit. In order to start my next unit, I need to space over. So I will pick up an 11/0 seed bead. Then I will pick up a lavender fire polish bead and an 11/0 seed bead. I will drop them down, and then I will begin my next unit. You'll always begin your units with a rice pearl, so pick it up. And then in order to connect into this sticking out rice pearl, we need to get our next series of beads, which is the opal, and then go down into the rice pearl that's sticking out. Now our next rice pearl is recessed, so we know we will pick it up. So what we will do is we will pick up 2 lavender, a rice pearl, 3 opal, and then we will go into the rice pearl that's sticking out. And pull. Now we need to make the very end of our unit. So how we will do that is to just copy what we already have on the previous unit. So we'll pick up 3 of the lavender beads, a rice pearl, and an 11/0 seed bead. Go around the 11/0 seed bead and back up through the rice pearl. Let's get you a little closer just for a couple of frames here, just so we can make sure that you've got the pattern down. Once you get this far, then it's pretty obvious what you need to do next. And it's very repetitious from this point. So we'll pick up 3 of our lavender beads because we need to work our way back up, do this half of the unit, and then space over. So we'll pick up 3 lavender beads. This one's recessed, so I'm going to pick up a pearl. I need to get to this one sticking out, so I need 3 more opal in order to make my way to that bead. And then I will go through that sticking out bead. And then I need to finish and connect to this top bead. So I will pick up my 2 lavender. This one's recessed, so I know I have to pick it up. Pick up a rice pearl. Then I will pick up 2 opal beads and go into the top rice pearl and my unit is now complete. Straighten things up as you do this so that it's nice and neat. This looks strange here, but it will start to curve. We'll do one more unit and then we will go to length off camera. So this is very repetitious from this point, and once you get this far, all you have to do is look at your previous beads and you know exactly what to do. But always remember to do your space over. 11 seed bead, I'm going to pick up my lavender fire polish bead, and then I will pick up another 11 seed bead. I need to get to this pearl here, so I have to add this one first. So I'll pick up a rice pearl, and I will pick up 2 of my opal colored beads. This will get me over to my sticking out rice pearl and go into it. Tighten it up. If your previous unit loosens up, just pull the previous beads before, like I'm going up here, and then I'm going to pull here, and I can tighten it up. Then I'm going to pick up 2 lavender beads. This is recessed, so I'm going to pick up a pearl. Then I'm going to pick up 3 opal beads and go into the next sticking out rice pearl. So you're always just picking up beads to get to the next sticking out rice pearl, like so. Then we'll make our pointed end, and by doing that we'll pick up our 3 fire polish, a rice pearl, and an 11 seed bead. Drop them down, go around the 11 back up into the rice pearl, and pull. This one's recessed, so we know we have to pick up 3 of our lavender. We have to pick up the rice pearl, and then 3 opal. Drop them down and go into the next sticking out rice pearl on the previous unit. And then we need to make our top and connect here. So we need our lavender beads, and then the rice pearl, and then the opal beads, and 2 of them. Just remember as you're working your way up and down not to forget that you have 3 on the bottom 2 unit parts here, the bottom segments, and you have 2 on the 2 upper segments, because as you're working along you can get a little hypnotized by it and accidentally put the wrong number. So just always remember the top is 2, the bottom are 3, and then go up through the rice pearl on the top here. And then your spacing bead, 11 4mm fire polish, and 11 pick up a rice pearl, pick up 2 opal, and then go down into your rice pearl. Now at this point it's very repetitious, and we'll just continue doing this. I also want to say at this point that you do not necessarily have to do this with rice pearls. You can use a 6mm round where the rice pearls are, or whatever you would like to use. This will accommodate most any type of bead, and you could do it all in seed beads. You could use 6/0s where these larger beads are, and you could use 11/0s where the smaller ones are. Of course, you're going to get a much smaller presence on your neck of a necklace, it's going to be a smaller one because the beads are smaller. However, this pattern is very basic. It's standard knitting pattern, and you should be able to do it with any size and combination of beads that you would like, as long as you follow the basic pattern and number of beads. So continue doing this stitch until you have 39 units. Now I have counted my units by counting the very last drop purl here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on until I've made 39 units. This is going to make my center diameter that's going to go around my neck to be just a little over 16 inches. It's going to be about 17 inches when I put my last clasping on and clasp it together. Generally, a collar necklace will be 16 inches around the top here. However, I do not like mine really tight around my neck, so I'm making mine just a little bit bigger than that because I just don't like that. I don't like it to be real tight. So it will still fit just like a collar around my neck. It just won't be real tight against my neck. Now, if you're a very small person, you may want to go a unit or two shorter. If you're a bigger person, you may want to go a few units longer. It's very easy. You've got one clasp on one side. As you're making your units, you can put this around your neck and see exactly how big you want it to be. And then you continue making units, or you stop making units if you get it to the point to where you think it should lay correctly around your neck. For me, 39 units is just about right, especially with the type of clasping I'm doing. Of course, you could put a lobster claw clasp on just like I put this one on, and then put a chain on this side so that you could make it shorter and have an extender in the back if you'd like. This is going to go completely around the neck. If you want an extender and you want the back just to be chain, you can do that too. It's very forgiving, very easy to alter the length of this particular necklace. Now, I'm coming out of this rice pearl on my very last unit here, and I have to connect my clasping like I did on this side. So I had to search for the end of my clasp. It got away from me. So I'm going to use this end of the clasp. I'm going to pick up 3. I'm coming out of my last purl here. Make sure your last unit is nice and tight and everything's secure and looks good. Pick up 3 11-0 seed beads and drop them down. And then pick up a fire polish bead and drop it down. And then pick up your clasp band and go through it. And then go through the fire polish bead again, like so. Pull it all down to where it lays correctly. Let me rearrange myself here. And then pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, like so. And then go through the other side of the rice pearl. Come right through it. Make sure that your last unit doesn't come apart as you do this. Keep everything tight. And then sew back through it. So I'm coming out of my rice pearl here. I'm going to sew back through all 3 of these 11-0 seed beads. Up through the clasp. Back through the fire polish bead. Down through the 3 11-0s. And then back into the rice pearl. Sew through it one more time to secure it. After we have done that, then we will be back and we will tie off our thread and see our completed project. Okay, so I have secured my clasping now, and I'm coming out of this little rice pearl right here. I'm just going to go ahead and grab this thread bridge that's between the 11 O's and the rice pearl. Make sure everything is nice and secure, looks good, and grab underneath this little thread bridge right here, and then pull your thread into a loop, go through the loop, and gently pull down a knot and guide it between the beads. And then sew into this next 11O and fire polish bead on top here, and then the 11O behind that fire polish bead also. And we're just going to sew back through our netting till we can get to this side and tie a few more knots. So let me turn this. I'm going to go down into this rice pearl here, so it's the second one on my unit. And you can do this any way you want. You don't have to follow the way I'm doing it. I just think this happens to be a pretty good way. So then we're going to go through these two opal beads. I'm going to go into the fire polish bead. I'm just working my way down in a diagonal all the way over to the outer edge of my necklace so that I can tie off some more on the outer edge. So I'm going to go through these here and this rice pearl right here. Now I'm on the outside of my necklace, and I'm going to go between this rice pearl and this opal bead, and I'm going to grab that thread bridge, pull a loop down, go through the loop, and gently guide my knot down. Don't pull real tight to where you bunch anything, just nice and easy, and then sew down into the next three here, and I'm just going to sew down to my edge, to my very bottom right here. If you want to tie more knots, you can. However, I'm going to call that good, and I'm going to cut this off right here at the very edge, right before the rice pearl. I've left a little length. I'm going to grab my lighter, and I'm going to burn it down. Now the length that you left on the other end, you can burn down now too. I already did that, but if you still have a little bit of tag of your tail left over here, you can burn that down just like I just did this end. And let's take a peek and see what we've got. Back off again and let you see how this works. This will go right through here real nice and easy, like so. And you've got a nice, big, bold, netted piece of jewelry. And as I said earlier, don't let it intimidate you by the number of fire polish beads or crystals, or if you don't have rice pearls, that type of thing. Don't worry about that. This particular pattern will work with anything. So you can use 11 O's, 8 O's, and 6 O seed beads if you'd like. And of course you'd use the 11 O's where we use the 11 O's on here. You'd use the 6 O's where we use the rice pearls, and the 8 O's where we use the crystals. So the 4mm round. It would be a much smaller type of necklace, but it will still be a nice netted look like this. You can also use different shapes. You don't necessarily have to use rice shape. This particular rice shape opens things up and makes it look very pointy, and I just like the look of the rice pearl. So that's why I have used it. But there again, like I said, don't let that intimidate you. Use any kind of bead you want. This is a basic netted pattern, and it works in a billion different ways with a billion different types of beads. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and that you make yourself a really pretty necklace. Bye-bye.